Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
Well, loves, I'm Tina Lokkbakk, and welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure. And I'm getting a little clue here of what that next adventure is. Tina's putting on her fake English accent. Is that what that was?
It's quite the best I could do, love.
Is it stereotyping doing that? I don't know.
I don't know. I just love the English and I love the accents.
Well-
and I just love where you're going to be going.
Well, it just cracks me up because I'm thinking I've always thought when you're in England and you're you do an American accent, how does that feel when you put that on, and how well are they doing it, and can we hear them faking it, or how real does it sound? You know what I mean?
Yeah, to hear ours is an act. You know what? There is this, sorry, totally off the side. He was the actor in The Guardian. It was an excellent series. And it turned out this whole time he was an Australian, right? Without the accent. And I think, Nicole Kidman too, right?
Yeah, she's
Australian.
Uh-huh.
So they have mastered our accent, mastered it.
Well, yes, if you're an actor, then that's your job. I mean, it's like on The Walking Dead. Both Rick and Michonne are, those
Oh.
actors are English speakers, and so, but they do an incredible job.
And the guy on House, isn't he English as well?
Yeah, well, so those are actors. They're
I
they
know,
have skills,
but I'm
you know.
trying. I mean, people can pay me. Don't mind.
So, listeners, we're going to be talking about traveling today, being female, being a woman, and traveling. So let's get into it. All right, so this is an interesting topic. We have, every time you and I have traveled, we've traveled as females, right?
Last time I checked.
And the other thing is that when you start talking about this, traveling solo is also by yourself when you're a woman, how that is compared to as a man traveling by themselves, whether it's a business trip or on vacation or whatever it might be. So all this comes into play when you travel solo. It is a whole different it's a whole different experience than traveling together with others. So
But I think even as women in a pair,
yes.
I think it would take a horde of women to be 100% secure in many situations.
Now, see, that's exactly, as soon as you talk about women traveling, the idea of security comes up. Isn't that insane? Because when there's guys traveling together, there's not a question of security.
No. But I don't even think we have to travel to experience this.
Exactly. It's an extension of, there are more dangers though. When you're traveling, you're somewhere else.
Yeah, because you don't know where you are and what's going to be there to protect you.
Well, hopefully you do know where you are.
Community, Huh?
Right. Hopefully you do know where you are, but I know what you mean. You meant you don't know what could happen. And and then just the idea of being a woman and traveling, you have to decide if, again, see, it comes back to safety. If it's safe for you to go because of those local laws and the culture, it could even be within our own nation. If you are, say, married to a woman and you're traveling to a place that
in the Midwest
or the South or anywhere, or the West, out here, there are lots of pockets where it's just not safe, and you have to decide whether that's something you want to do or not, whether you're willing to risk. And then when you do that, are you being you're being accused of being irresponsible for your safety. It's like that, the eternal thing where, in your own hometown, a woman walking by herself at night, it's like, you're kind of asking for it because that's not safe behavior. It's like, really?
Yeah. So something just came to mind. My youngest went on this impromptu trip to Hawaii to go watch the pipeline. And she went with just her roommate. They stayed at a hostel, and she'd never stayed at a hostel before and felt kind of uncomfortable because it's very open, right? There's no individual rooms and spaces where you lock things up. You kind of just, there's just lots of beds, and it's mixed, and it's, ages all through, mostly young. And then she tells me, and I just about went out of my mind, but they do the things they do. And they went and hitchhiked because her girlfriend that she went with lost her phone and wanted to go back to the place they were at. And right, exactly. As Sue's eyes got big, and I'm like having a cow thinking, thank God she didn't tell me, because I would have wanted to fly over there and kill her myself. So it was better that she came back and told me after the experience. But I told her it's not okay. And she's like, well, it's a different vibe there. I'm like, no, and especially at 3 a.m.
Oh
And I
my
was thinking,
God.
if a guy and his buddy needed to go hitchhike to go get the phone, it's probably going to be about 90% safer. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what it really boils down to is the physical ability to protect yourself. Now, if my daughter had been a black belt in some martial art, I would have felt a lot more secure. But she's not. And I think that's the sad part. As women, we should be carrying pepper spray. We should be, black belts in some sort of a martial art, and still take precaution. Anyway,
Well, and then
Sharon.
to turn it around and then blame women. I mean, you're a woman's life is limited by her very gender and her ability to move around to even her hometown, let alone traveling. But that limits your experiences, and she has to decide how and when she wants to move outside those limitations, and it takes a lot of courage. So it's a it's great. I mean, I remember when you just recently traveled on by yourself, but you went to your family's home, but you traveled yourself to Norway, and then you navigated around town by yourself, and it's an opportunity to move beyond those limitations that have been placed on us every day, where you get to really test yourself and test your mettle and be within yourself. It's a beautiful thing to travel on your own, don't you
Yeah,
think?
that's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you've never done it, I highly suggest it for everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone should travel on your own at some times in your life, because it really does make you understand yourself and attest yourself and praise yourself uh, for that being that brave, for getting out there and experiencing things. Yeah. You look concerned. What's going on?
Uh, because I had never thought about not traveling by myself. So it's interesting, like, wow, like I never thought of that as a brave thing to do. It's just what I've done. It's just what I do. And so it was kind of like an eye opener that I did something perhaps that many people wouldn't feel comfortable doing, and I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's bravery all the time, too. Sometimes people are like, well, I just wouldn't enjoy not being with somebody. I mean, that could be part of it, too. But, it is, that's the question, to go out and experience it, is to go see how it feels to do it on your own. And you experience things differently. And um, it's a great opportunity for personal growth, I say.
When I was 20, I went to a special language school down in Cuernavaca, Mexico. And I realized, wow, actually, thinking back, when I was 20, I went with no one, had never been there. This was a word of mouth school. I arrived and did my thing, and I loved it. And I did a lot of walking by myself. But there was one night, I've got to tell you, because I hadn't really thought about it. I felt comfortable. I had gotten dropped off, and it was probably at 10 at night. And I had about 3 blocks to walk home. And there was about a block or two down, I could see them, a group of boys, teenage, older, early 20s, my age or younger, who were talking. And then they saw me. And of course, I'm going to stand out. I look like a tourist. And it got quiet. And I got so scared at that. That was the only time on that whole trip I felt really unsafe. And I don't know, that's the thing. You're traveling alone as a woman. There's a group of boys. I don't know it just wasn't my time, or I exuded confidence because I walked calmly or with a purpose. I have no idea, but it was scary because they did get quiet. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the U.S. Department of State has tips for traveling
Ooh.
abroad. And this is not as abroad, but traveling abroad. So
Those
you're supposed to,
penny of you.
yeah, and this may be even more important right now as we enter our world that's our changing world and how Americans are going to be perceived and should be perceived differently. When you go someplace, you're supposed to register, and with the country, the embassy of the country that you're supposed to be with. There's a whole service. You go online and you do it. And that way, if something were to happen, they know that you're there. If you're going to be removed from the country, there's a need to evacuate you for whether it was a natural disaster or something else. Um, you're first in line because you've already registered. The other thing they suggest is that you should register when you go to a hotel or wherever you go. Register under as a woman, just your first name, first initial, and last name. So there's not a they don't know if you're male or female.
Ah.
Um, be aware of clothing, local customs regarding clothing, and be prepared to participate in that or not. Again, this is your choice. Are you going to wear clothing that covers your arms and your legs, your hair, perhaps? Those are the local customs. You need to know ahead of time if you're going to be following those customs or not, and the implications of it. Are you going to look at people in the eyes? How are you going to act? So being aware of that. They also suggest taking hygiene products that you prefer because they may or may not be available in the country that you're going. If you are
So true. I'm
yeah,
just going to say as a plug, if you know of any
a plug.
Cubans, please send, yes, please send sanitary napkins and tampons because they don't have them. And I've been asking, we're kind of on the other side, Maria and I, of things, and so is her mother. So I don't know what young people do because they aren't really available, and the people that can buy them have to be the wealthy. So I would say that 80% or more of the population, I don't know what they do when they are menstruating, to be honest. So sorry, I had to put that in there as you talked about hygiene items. Like, think about that.
Yeah,
Think about going to places that don't even have that as an option.
right. It's huge.
Yep.
Um, so if you're pregnant, you're supposed to get a doctor's letter for permission that allows you to fly.
Oh.
You
Oh.
might be denied flying if they randomly or other events, so giving doctor permission. Um, on public transit, be aware of that it could be, especially if it's crowded, that is an opportunity for all kinds of misbehavior that you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And there are public transit that you're able to, where they separate male and females. You can, like on the metro, you go this way with if you're female, this way if you're male. So there's actually systems in place to help you with that. You didn't know that?
Where?
I know that in Mexico that was the case. In the subway, Mexico City, uh, the women
Wow.
and yeah, yeah. So that you didn't have to worry about.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There was another place that I had as well. It was male and female were separated, and I didn't think anything of it because I had already
Wow. I
experienced
just
that.
honestly, I thought, look at my stereotyping, but I just assumed in the Middle East, where people will be wearing burqas and head coverings. I know the separation of sexes there, but to me, Mexico is Western,
Yeah, I don't even know if
but it's a safety thing. I
yeah,
don't think it's a sex thing. I think it's a safety thing.
right. Well, but it's embedded with the misogyny. I mean,
I
yeah.
don't know. I wonder if it's just protection because it's a big city, right? And women are vulnerable.
Well,
And
there
so
there we
to
go.
make
That's what
people
I'm
use
saying.
the public transportation, that would be the only way to do it because just like me being that girl of 20 walking alone and having a group of boys get silent, I would definitely not have taken a metro in Mexico City. But if I knew that there was a women's side, I would actually.
And that's not a misogynistic thing. You're saying it's
God,
security. It's based on
I
the fact
say,
that you're a woman.
yeah, but it's creating safety and
Right,
that's
right.
looking at reality.
Well, that's good, but it's based on, it comes from an understanding that there's this misogyny that exists, that you can't control the men in a crowd.
Ooh,
Yeah. No, so I remember when I was studying abroad studying abroad. I,
España.
I remember when I was studying abroad in Madrid, and public transit was quite full, and you get, pushed in there, squished in there. There's lots of people, and all kinds of behaviors are happening. I have some guy jack off on the back of,
No.
yes, absolutely. Thankfully, I was wearing a raincoat, and there it was.
No.
No, I'm not kidding. No. And then you
Oh,
go in there, you see little old men sitting on their seats, and they're jacking off and looking at you,
no.
smiling and laughing, and you know, um, you learn how to manage that, but you have to decide if you're going
Oh,
to get into that metro train or not. And so if you're a group of friends, you could do that, but you still that's when it happened to me. You still had that happen to me. So so again, those are
wow.
yeah, those are things that you need to be aware of as when you're traveling, based on the U.S. Department of State as a woman traveling. That's what they suggest. So that's their list.
Sue, um, could you let us know how the topic of travel misogyny came up?
Well, recently I was on a tour uh, to France, and we went with on it was a university tour. So it was people from local university, and it was either graduates or people from here and everything. So it was and they're pretty much older folks, alumni and stuff like that. Um, so when we signed up, of course, as a married couple. Um, my wife and I did, and we were traveling with other married couples, and there were some single people there as well, single women who were traveling on their own. And we would get to the hotel, and we'd go into the little room, and there was two twin beds. We had signed up for, a queen bed, or if there was a king, sure, no problem. Same price as other, the other married couples, people traveling together. And we're like, okay, well, this is Europe. We'll just push the beds together because, that's what they do in Europe is they push the little twins together and good to go. Next day we come back to the same room and they pulled the beds apart, and you're like, okay, well, people are just doing their job. They're resetting up the room, but I mean, it's the same people. You'd think that if their luggage and everything is still there, they would leave the bed the way it was, like in the other people's bedrooms that are a couple. And so I told our tour guide, hey, because I had been talking with the other couples. I said, oh, no, we have a queen bed. Or ours is two twins pushed together. Oh, we have a king bed. And we're like, huh. So I talked to the tour guide and I said, this is an issue. This feels disrespectful. It's either about being women or it's about being gay women. And what do you? Can we just have our
A
beds pushed
normal
together?
room?
Yeah. So when we go to the next hotel, I would like to make sure that it's clear that we'd like a regular room for a married couple, and it shouldn't even be that you have to be married. I mean, whatever. But and it was interesting to me, the single women. They always put the individual single women who may or may not have been sharing a room down at the end. So they were down at the far end, and all the couples were up close. And so, it's like in order, according to your value in society.
Wow.
That's how it
Like
felt.
marriage is,
Yeah,
wow.
that's how it felt to me. And we were kind of in between the single women and legitimately married people. And this, France is a country that understands this. They have gay marriage and everything. So what's the issue? But it was subtle, And I don't know from whose point of view was it done, but the way that it felt to me was, put you in your place. Here's a different treatment than other people receive. Whether it was the hotel itself, I don't think so. Was it the tour guide who made the reservations? I'm not sure. Was it the tour company? I don't know. But it just
Hmm.
felt weird. But I'm glad I spoke up, and that changed. So that was weird.
You know what I find interesting? Let's take everything out of it, gender roles, gay, not gay, whatever. You're paying for a trip
Right.
and you asked for this thing, and it is their job to make sure that you get the thing you're paying for.
Right.
And if I wanted a king size bed as a single woman, I would have assumed to have gotten a king size bed because that's what I'm paying for and that's what I asked for. So I think it's even a bigger thing. Like, in some ways, like, where was the refund?
Right. And it is based on, my whole point is it's based on being female. Um, I don't think that that would have happened to a male.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. And I was thinking if it were two married men,
Mm-hmm.
they probably would have faced the same thing.
Exactly.
However, what I
Exactly.
was thinking about was if we're going down a hallway in order, I guarantee you it would have been, as you said, married couples up front. It would have been the married men next, and then the women at the end.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
my whole
I
point.
was wondering. I wonder if that would be true.
I think that is my point. Yeah. 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 Ah. Well, when you travel uh, as women, as married women, you also, it's interesting because you do get treated differently in other places. You go to a restaurant, everyone assumes you're just your buddies or friends, or that you are sisters. A lot of people think that we're sisters. We get it every single time we go anywhere. Are you sisters? And often, mostly
You
I'll
guys
say,
do look so much. I mean, you guys are the same height. It is kind of funny.
and
Like, that would be my
and same
assumption as
build,
well.
and yeah, we have
Yes.
glasses and this short hair, and
But the same height, the same, yeah, it's, yeah.
well, and to, so sometimes I'll say no, we're married. Other times I'll say something like that because I don't necessarily feel safe about where I am or what's going on,
Right.
and but yeah, it is a different thing. You do get treated differently when you're women, of a certain age too, or we're not going to be hit on, and usually, I mean, out on the street when you were walking down an alley, if you will, the proverbial alley, you are, it doesn't matter what your age is, you are a target, right? But generally speaking, you're non-threatening, but you're also kind of invisible. You're really not looked at. You walk into a restaurant, you're together. They look at the other people who walked in the restaurant, the couple, the male and female couple. Oh, sir, what can you'd like a table for two? And like, hello, we're here first. We're standing in front of them. That happens a lot. So you're just literally kind of invisible, and that feels very belittling. It's like you got to have a male with you in order to be seen. I don't know. It's just it's very frustrating. On the other hand, you were talking about privilege. It is about the fact that you get to even travel is a massive privilege, and it's one that I'm concerned about. I mean, now traveling as an American, I have another trip coming up I'm looking forward to, but traveling as American now, it makes
In
me
Europe.
concerned about what's going on in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I almost felt like this should be an entirely different topic for another day. But so you're going to England, which
Right.
is why I started off with an English accent.
One
Um,
of our greatest allies, even though we separated from them.
and that's what I was going to ask you. They've changed some procedures, I think. I don't know when you went to France. Now they have this new like European visa that you have to like go into separate lines for? Like, have you done that?
Yeah, it's interesting because, United States coming in, they would require visas from people and make people pay for visas and so forth. And so, tit for tat, other countries are doing the same thing. And that's understandable. I mean, if one country does it, then it starts the whole roll for everybody, even your best allies. So yeah, there was a new a new visa that's required, and it's not expensive. I think it's something like $10 or something, and you have to do it ahead of time. And they're just implementing this. It's all electronic, which is weird. So then you just hope that the internet's working and everything. But in theory, you just walk in because you've already paid it, you've already registered. So
Mm,
when they get your passport, they'll recognize that. But so that's different, and that's for everybody. It's not just Americans that have to do
right.
that. Um, but yeah, there's the concern about turning our allies and friends and family into uh, to I mean, I don't know, enemies, frenemies.
Frankly, I my experience just now going back to Norway, it was there was only a librarian that had really asked me, some stranger. No, there was some actual times. It'll be interesting where people kind of mention Trump, and so we had a little conversation. I'm curious as to what your experience will be and how much or if anyone will even bring it up. But where I was thinking, as you're going to England, less scary. Do you know where I would feel really uncomfortable going to visit? Canada.
Yeah,
I don't think you could pay me to go to Canada right now, and I don't blame them. Like I, I really feel for them. Like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
yeah,
Is the whole, hey, just become a state? Like, are you kidding? Like, that's so insulting.
yeah.
All of it. So I think I would actually feel very uncomfortable traveling to Canada anytime soon. Like, and it shouldn't be that way because I'm
No,
not even. I, I feel for them. I should go maybe in solidarity for the Canadians. Like,
elbows up. So in England, I think that people might be more, even though things are ramping up really fast and the consequences to Europe are massive. I think the people of England are going to go, oh, we went through our own Brexit thing, massive chaos, a lot of concern, and that's kind of, I mean, it's a similar uh, crazy situation. So they might get that. I don't know. I know that I'm pretty certain we're going to get a lot of pushback. And I am concerned about my home country of Canada. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, tough
sorry.
times. So traveling as a woman might be a lot easier now than traveling as an American. Last thoughts, Tina. Any thoughts about traveling? Has the screen frozen? I don't know.
Sometimes, Sue, it's the formulating of the thought or it's narrowing it down to one. Uh, and all I could think that kept coming into my mind is, wow, as a young single, that's not me, as a young single woman, yeah, just take precautions.
Yeah.
Just be safe.
Well, I would
And
say
actually, not even as a young, even
that's what
as
I was.
just a woman.
Yeah.
I go, you're right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just traveling as a woman takes a lot more thought about where you're going to go, who you're going to go with. It's true, what you're going to wear, making eye contact that you mentioned. I think there are many things that a woman does have to think about if you're going to play it safe. If you go in completely dodo eyed and unaware, there may be consequences.
There are, hopefully the learning is not painful physically or
Right.
emotionally. So when that your safety is in concern, you need to be aware where you receive condescending treatment, where you're infantilized as a woman. You've got to figure out how you're going to manage that. Ignoring behavior often is what we do. It's a strategy that women do, is to ignore behavior so we don't make a scene. But sometimes, you know what? Make a scene, because that's how you keep yourself safe, and that's how you maintain who you are. I don't mean cause a stir everywhere you go. Figure it out, manage it, learn it, and good luck. Happy travels.
Happy travels, Sue. This is exciting.
Thanks for listening. Now let's pack up this week's episode in the trunk.
Ride shotgun and be a part of our adventure by clicking on the plus sign to subscribe and follow our show. This will help our ratings and, more importantly, inspire us to keep creating fun and engaging content. We would love to hear from you in the comments section, hint, hint, or email us at retiredpodcastnewtred@gmail.com. Use the fast track lane by sharing episodes with friends, family, and anyone who would like to join us on our road trip through retirement.
Be sure to check the show notes for links and contact information. Retired is chauffeured by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me, too. Buckle up and tune in next week so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip. I'm getting better at that. I'm giving you a long pause.